Hi, I'm Gavin Blair, your CEO here at the Iowa Association of REALTORS, here today with your 2023 Iowa Association President, Krista Clark. So Krista, welcome.
Thank you for having
This is a chance for everybody to get to meet you today and membership to get to know who you are a little bit. How long have you been in real estate, and what were you doing prior to being in real estate in the first place?
So 16 years, this is my 16th year, it's wild. Before real estate, I worked in the commercial loan department at US Bank.
So 16 years ago, you decided to make the jump into real estate. What prompted that decision?
I knew I did not like the banking world. US Bank was not for me. However, I would see borrowers coming in buying specifically multifamily property, and I saw a little bit of a niche. It's kind of the gray area between commercial and residential real estate, and I felt like if I could cater to just those borrowers, I could make a decent living at it. And from the moment I had that thought until the moment I put in my 2 weeks was like 3 days.
That's amazing. So you got in real estate. Was it right away? Did you take to it, or did it take a while to kind of get used to it?
So when I got started, I approached a few borrowers there and basically said, hey, if I got my real estate license, would you give me a chance? Of those borrowers, there was a few of them that said, like, you know, yeah, we'd try it. You'd obviously have to earn our business going forward, but we'll try it. And so I did the math and realized, like, okay, I might be eating like ramen noodles for a few years, but if I only had their business or what they did, you know, in the past year, that I could make it work. So I was thankful to have kind of a built-in clientele from the start, and then built up from there. Absolutely.
So now, talking about real estate, what's been the most rewarding time, or what's been the most rewarding to you in these last 16 years of doing real estate?
I think from a leadership perspective, it has been just meeting new people and seeing so many people step in from, you know, where I first met them and see where they are today within their leadership journey. In the real estate world, it's just been knowing that I, from that first day that I had that thought, that there really was something there, and being able to build upon that. So that's been fun.
You also do residential real estate too as well, a little bit here and there. How do you keep that first and foremost with a buyer coming in and knowing that's their biggest purchase of their life? How do you make that still important to you every time you go through that?
I think it's just that, like, you realize the weight of having someone's, you know, the biggest investment in their life on your shoulders, and just knowing that they trust you, they chose you for a reason, and that you really do have to make sure that you're guiding them in the right direction.
So you talked a little bit about residential real estate, you talked a little bit about commercial real estate, but you also talked a lot about organized real estate and leadership throughout that, and that's been a big part of your life, obviously, in the 16 years you've done this. What got you started in that, I guess, and what was your local board at the time, and what did you do locally when you were involved? Yeah, so the good old Newton Board of Realtors no longer exists, but was the best board of all times, if you ask me. I first got involved, someone asked me. We had a local election, and with a smaller board, sometimes it's a struggle to find people to step up into those roles. So someone I had known, actually it was a friend from high school's mom was a realtor, and she called and said, hey, we think you'd be great. Why don't you apply for this position? And I was a little naive and not knowing exactly what that would entail, and that meant I did something else the next year, and something else the next year, and something else the next year. So I, you know, said yes, and I haven't looked back. So if you're a young agent listening to this right now, what do you tell them, and how do you get young? What is their path through this? Is it rewarding? Is it not? Is it something they should look at? Should they wait a while? What is that like if you're just getting in the business and you're a young agent just trying to get your feet underneath yourself? Yeah, I mean, I think if you ask anyone who knows me, and I think my nephew was a great example as he roasted me the other night, but this really isn't my thing. Like, I never got into this thinking, oh, I want to get involved in the leadership side of this. And I really probably, had things not gone the way that they had, would have had a great, wonderful, fulfilling career in real estate without ever having done that. I don't know that it would be the same, but it just really wasn't my style. So I didn't go into this thinking that was my goal. So I frankly didn't think I had anything to offer, especially being newer in the business. So I guess my advice would be just to know that there's a place for you in the organization, and that you know, we do need to hear from everyone. So involved with the Newton Newton Board of Realtors to the state association. What was your first involvement at the state association? So I actually remember my very first meeting for IAR, and I think I was secretary of our local board at the time. And I went to summer meetings in Pella, which was very close for me. And I had gone to like one of like the bigger, you know, like I can't even write, something where I didn't really have to talk, and it was fine. And I went in, and then I like
went home or ran somewhere and was in my car and I was going to the YPN meeting. That was like looking at the schedule, I'm like, no idea what that is, no idea what that is, no idea what that is. And then I'm like, oh, Young Professionals Network, that's me, right?
Yep.
So that's what stood out to me on the agenda. So I was going to this meeting and I remember vividly like sitting in my car and being like, I don't need to go in. Like, it's fine. They've got it handled. I was just so nervous because I didn't know anyone, and I didn't, going into that room, I'm like, I'm gonna be the outsider. They're all gonna know everybody. Yep. And so walking in that room and instantly just being welcome. I think you all know me well enough to know that I'm not gonna sit quiet in any meeting. So, sitting there and having ideas and piping up and saying them, and the encouragement that I felt from people who had no idea who I was to, say what I had to say was very refreshing.
So that was probably, what, 8, 9 years ago, maybe more than that at this point?
Yeah, it would have been like 2014.
2014. So if you take that journey back, what was your first leadership role at the State Association? Was it YPN?
Yeah, it was. It was, so vice chair of YPN.
Okay.
And at the time, YPN really wasn't a whole lot.
Yep.
There wasn't a lot going on with it. I mean, they had, had a few meetings and talked a little bit about it, but I knew it was a challenge that I was excited to accept and knew that there was a place for it. And again, like, I thought about all of the other younger agents that were sitting in the parking lot thinking that they didn't have to go in because they didn't have anything to add, right. And just knew that that was a great opportunity. And it was so easy to understand that, like, we have the energy, right? Like, young agents are still naive enough to think that there isn't drama ahead. But so I knew we had the energy, and it was just connecting that with the association was the fun part. Absolutely.
So then State Association, you also, though, got involved very quickly at the National Association, and for many people that's even more daunting than walking into a state meeting. And so you talk about at the time, probably 1.2 million members, but you got the opportunity to represent the Young Professional Network at that level as well.
Yeah. And that really just came from, being involved in meeting, and really, honestly, what kind of launched the NAR side of things was the 30 under 30, applying for that and being selected for 30 under 30 in 2014. That put NAR on the map for me. So I had already, gone to a few conventions and things like that. So I knew Rob at NAR and had a chance to get to know him. And but really, that 30 under 30 is really what sprang me into action with YPN and eventually becoming YPN chair.
And so, doing all those things, what has been the most rewarding side of this side of it, of the organized real estate side?
It's always just seeing new people step into leadership. That's going to be my answer to so many questions, because that is truly what drives me, and it's the whole reason I do this. And again, this isn't a me thing, and I don't think anyone's surprised to hear that, especially after they hear me talk. I'm a mess 90% of the time. But I also know that there's a lot of people watching, and I've known that from the start. And for some reason, I was lucky enough to be the one that came through and people embraced my journey, and I had so much support, and I just want to make sure that I'm giving that same support to others. So when I see someone like Travis or even Shaner stepping up and being so much more involved and being supported, that's the most rewarding part for me.
Absolutely. So next year's the big year, 2023 Iowa Association of REALTORS president. Anything that is top of mind for you that you're focused on going into this next year?
I think it's a changing market, so I think we have to be, cautious on any decisions that we make. I'm really excited to work through the process of the statewide MLS. I think that's a really big opportunity for us, and I think that we really have to handle that in a way that our members understand the benefits of that. So I'm really excited to kind of dig in on that.
Absolutely.
Gavin's like, oh, great.
More work. No, it's good stuff.
So I think that's great. And really, again, I look forward to just giving more opportunities for people to get involved. I know I keep saying that, but looking at some micro volunteer opportunities where someone is a busy agent and they may not be able to commit to being on a committee for a year or two, but they would commit to a work group that's going to tackle a single issue, and it might take 3 months, and then they're done, and they feel like they've been able to give their input on the association. So I really want to look at a lot of those opportunities as well.
Your theme for convention was find a way or fade away.
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
As an organization, whether looking at the Newton Board of Realtors, which is 45 people, to IAR, with our 8,000, 80, I don't even know anymore.
For
it keeps growing. Our membership count.
We're over 8,000 now.
Yeah, over 8,000 members, to NAR with, same
1.6,
5, 6.
Yep.
No matter what you're looking at, I think as organizations we move really slowly, and it's really easy for other people to identify our issues and come in and make opportunities out of those things. So just like with the statewide MLS, it's like we either have to get out of our own way, find a way to make it work, or someone else is going to come in and do it to us.
And then one other point before we jump into rapid fire, you mentioned early on somebody asked you to be involved, right? And somebody asked you to be involved at the state. Somebody asked you to be involved at NAR. Who are some of those people? Just curious to look back at your journey, those people that have asked you to be in certain places that you look back at and kind of remember in those different ways. I think it's important for people to look at finding people like that, but also then remember that you have to ask people as well. But who are those people that asked you back in the day?
So from a local standpoint, it was Julie Rose and Joe Jenkins. Both were really supportive of that. Honestly, and I say it all the time, but Mark Gavin at IAR, I don't think I would be where I am today at all without him. When I went to my first NAR convention in Orlando, so we're going back, yay. But in Orlando, I knew no one. So I literally just hung out with Mark and all of his friends, and it was so fun.
We're talking to Mark right now behind the camera.
He's over here, so it's a little awkward. But it was a blast, and I still, like his friends, I still love seeing them. They were my first friends in the organization, and just for him to open that up was something that I think a lot of people take for granted, having those opportunities with staff as well. And then just on at the state level, again, Joe has been a really great role to follow. And then at the national level, Elizabeth Mendenhall and Kenny have been super supportive. Pete is fantastic. And then really, I keep going back to it, but staff, it's just those relationships with Gavin and with Amanda and with Mark that really keep us going and understanding like what each of us needs between the staff and member relationship.
That's awesome. Good note to end on, but we're going to jump into some rapid fire. So first thing comes to your mind, answer it quickly. And if we need explanation, we'll jump into that afterwards. Okay. Start easy. Favorite color?
Blue.
Blue. Favorite band or artist?
Ooh. Kind of a hard one.
Right now you're failing.
Yeah,
you're one for two.
Man. Okay.
Come back to it. Skip.
That was a tough one.
Ideal vacation.
Anywhere with a beach and a little umbrella in my drink.
Fair enough. Favorite candy?
This one. Do I have to pick one?
Yeah, one candy.
Oh, shoot. Banana Laffy Taffy.
Okay. Favorite sport?
Baseball.
Your favorite word that is not a cuss word? You can't say that.
Favorite word that is not a cuss word? Empower.
Good one. Worst job?
Anything 9 to 5.
Best job?
Real estate.
And one we're going to end on, role model.
Oof. God, there's so many. I said it once, I'm going to say it again. Elizabeth Mendenhall, her leadership style and just her ability to stand in the face of a challenge and face it head on was really inspiring to me, is really inspiring to me. It was really inspiring the year that she was president, and she hasn't faltered from that. So I'll go with that.
Any last thoughts just as we wrap up here today, and anything going into next year that you want to empower membership, empower people to consider as we go into this, or anything that you just want to leave on? Yeah,
I think what I want everyone to know is that we work really hard to make sure that our members are represented, and as much as it's great to have someone tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, we want you to get involved, sometimes that doesn't happen. So I just really encourage anyone out there who is in the real estate space to step up and let us know where you can help, where you'd like to be involved. Because I think truly myself and then leadership coming forward and over the past few years as well, that's what's most important to us, is just getting our members involved in our association and making sure, I think it's said all the time, but better decisions are made when diversity is at the table. And we need to make sure that we are representing all of our members.
Thank you very much, Krista. It's been enlightening to have you here today. Membership's looking forward to a fun year ahead. I think the biggest takeaway for me is it's time to find a way or fade away.
That's right. No cuss words.
Thank you.